So now, students, we will discuss the second part of the chapter, that is the Russian Revolution. So, students, Russia was under monarchy in 1914, and socialists took over the government in Russia through October Revolution in 1917. The fall of monarchy in February 1917 and the events of October are normally called the Russian Revolution. So, the events of February 1917 and October 1917 together can be called as Russian Revolution. So, we will be studying Russian Revolution in two parts, that is February Revolution 1917 and October Revolution 1917. Now, how did this happen? What were the social and political conditions in Russia when the revolution occurred? Now we have to see this. So, in 1914, students, Tsar Nicholas II ruled Russia. Okay, so in 1914, Nicholas II, Tsar, ruled the Russian Empire. So Tsar Nicholas II was of Romanov dynasty. As you have earlier seen, King Louis XVI was of Bourbon dynasty, so Tsar Nicholas II was of Romanov dynasty. Now, Russia and its empire include, so territories we have to see Russia. So the Russian Empire, this vast empire, the Russian Empire, it includes present-day Finland, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, parts of Poland, then after that Ukraine, Belarus, Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan. So these all were the included in the Russian Empire. So 1914, Nicholas II was Tsar. He ruled the Russian Empire, and after that I have told you that he was of Romanov dynasty, and then we have talked about the area of Russian Empire. So let's discuss first the Russian economy and the society. What kind of economy and society was there during the Russian Empire? So let's first discuss Russian economy. Okay, so let's see. It was mainly agriculture economy, agrarian economy. 85% of population was engaged in agriculture. So about 85% of Russian Empire population earned their living from agriculture. So 85% of population was engaged in agriculture. Cultivators produced for the market as well as for their own needs. After that, industry was found in pockets. It means limited in number. So industry was limited in number and found in pockets in some areas only, like Petersburg, Moscow, where major industrial areas were there, and most of the production was carried by craftsmen. And after that, in around 1890s, railways expanded, and due to this, foreign investment in Russia also increased. So industries also increased. So coal production also doubled. Iron and steel output also increased by 4 times. So this was about the economy. So agrarian economy and industry was very less. Industry was limited. So this was about economy. Now let's talk about Russian society, and let's see workers in the cities, that what kind of workers were there in the cities. So due to industries coming up, workers migrated from rural and they settled in the cities. Workers were divided by the skill. Okay, like metal workers were there, they used to consider them as aristocrats, that we know our skill better, so we are aristocrats, we are superior among other workers. Then after that, women workers were also there. 31% of factory labor force were of women, but they were paid less than the men. Okay. So no doubt division were there between the workers, but workers did unite to strike the work. So workers were divided into group. No doubt division was there, but when they were united, when they have to go for strike work. Okay, unite to strike work here means that worker used to go on strike against the employers. If their demands were not met, then they used to go for the frequent strikes. So they were divided. Workers were divided, no doubt, according to skill, and different groups were there. But when it comes to their demands, they were united, and they were united to go for strike when they were not satisfied or when they were dissatisfied. Then after that, we have to see the Russian society in the countryside, that is in the rural area, what was happening with the peasants, what kind of society they have. So peasants cultivated most of the land, but most of the lands were owned by nobility, crown, church. Like workers, peasants were also divided. Like workers, peasants were also divided. So well-to-do peasants in Russia were called kulaks. So this is very important. One more question: who were kulaks? The well-to-do peasants in Russia were called kulaks. In Russia, except in few cases, peasants had no respect for nobility. Okay, so they don't respect nobility. Unlike we have seen that in Russia, except in few cases, peasants had no respect for nobility. Russian peasants want the redistribution of nobles' land to them. So this was thing what they wanted, redistribution of lands which nobles were having. But in France, during the French Revolution, at a place called Brittany, okay, we have seen at a place called Brittany, peasants respected nobles and they fought for them. In French Revolution, you have already seen the Mirabeau. Okay, he was noble and he helped the third state. So in France, somewhere nobles also help peasants, and peasants also used to respect nobility. So certain exceptions are always there. So, but the Russian peasants, they were different from other European peasants. How they were different? They worked by pooling their land together and then dividing the output according to the needs of the individual. So they pooled their land together and their commune divided according to the needs of the individual family. So what is the meaning of commune here? Means collective, a group of people. They are not from the same family, but who live together and share their property and responsibilities. So their commune is a collective group of people not from the same family who live together and share their property and responsibilities. So Russian peasants were only peasant community which pooled their land. So I have told you that Russian peasants were different from the European peasants. They worked by pooling their land together. This you will not see anywhere else. And then they divide the output according to the needs of individual. So this was, you can say, the Russian society was naturalist socialist society. In that sense you can say this thing. So we have talked about economy and society. Agriculture was the main base. 80% of population was engaged in agriculture. Industry was limited to certain areas only. Then we have seen the workers in the cities. They were divided into different groups, but they were united when they have to go for strike, when their demands were not met. Then we have seen the peasants in the rural area. Peasants, well-to-do peasants, or they were called kulaks in Russia, and peasants had no respect for nobility. Okay, unlike the French Revolution. Okay, I have told you the French peasants, they still have some at certain places they respect the nobles. But in Russia, peasants had no respect for nobility and they want redistribution of nobles' land. Then after, I have told you that Russian peasants were different from other European peasants because they divide their output according to the needs and they pool their land together, and then their commune divided according to the individual needs. So let's see now the socialism in Russia. So we will discuss now socialism in Russia. So before 1914, all political parties were illegal in Russia. So before 1914, all political parties were illegal in Russia. The Tsar will not allow any political party to operate. Okay, monarchy was there, so Tsar will not allow any other political party to operate. The Russian Social Democratic Workers' Party, Russian Socialist Democratic Labour Party, okay, or the Russian Social Democratic Workers' Party was founded in 1898. Very important. 1898 is the year. So in this year, this party was formed, that is Russian Socialist Democratic Labour Party in 1898. Year is very important. Please keep this in mind here. Then, but due to government policies, as Tsar was against creation of any other political party, this party also operated as an illegal organization. Now, some Russian socialists consider Russian peasants as natural socialists. Earlier also, I have told you that the Russian peasants, they were different from the European peasants, and they were considered as natural socialists. Now, why they were considered as natural socialists? Because of their custom of dividing their land periodically, and produce is divided equally. So peasants and not the workers would be the main force of revolution. Okay, so this was thought that peasants will bring the revolution. The main force of revolution will be peasants and not the workers. So it means that peasants would be the main force of revolution, because peasants were showing the characteristic of naturalist socialist. Then after this, so it struggled to give peasants their right over land that belongs to nobles. So earlier also I have told you that in Russia the peasants, there were few cases in which the peasants had no respect for nobility. Okay, so this we have seen earlier, that in Russia the peasant, they don't used to respect the nobles because they wanted the redistribution of nobles' land. Why? Because they believe in custom of dividing the land and then dividing the produce equally. So this was their, you can say, this was their nature. They used to work in this manner. So it struggled to give peasants their right over land that belonged to nobles. So this party, the Russian Socialist Democratic Labour Party, it also struggled to give peasants their right over the land that belongs to the nobles. So this was regarding redistribution of land which peasants wanted. So earlier also I have told you that land was divided among peasants periodically, which make them natural socialists. So I told you Russian peasants, they were naturally socialist because they have this custom of dividing land periodically, and produce is also divided equally. So they were naturally socialists, and it was felt earlier also I have told you that peasants and not the workers would be the main source of revolution. That if revolution will be there, then who will bring that revolution? The peasants. But Lenin felt that peasants were not one united group. Okay, so Lenin did not agree here. He felt that peasants were not one social group, that peasants were not a united group. Now why this is so? Because some peasants were poor and other peasants were rich. Some worked as liberal while others were capitalists. Well-to-do farm peasants, we have seen kulaks who employed workers. So according to Lenin, this differentiation, some were rich, some were poor, within the peasants did not allow peasants to be a part of socialist movement. So according to Lenin, it will be the workers who will bring revolution in Russia. So this was the viewpoint of Lenin, that it will not be peasants, it will be workers who are one group, one united group, and they are facing the exploitation from the capitalist. So the Russian Social Democratic Worker Party, which was founded in 1898, got divided into two factions in 1903. So the party was divided into Bolsheviks and Mensheviks. So please keep in mind the year. The party was divided into Bolsheviks and Mensheviks in 1903. Which party? The Russian Social Democratic Workers' Party, which was founded in 1898. It got divided into Bolsheviks and Mensheviks in 1903. So this map shows Europe in 1914. So this map shows the Russian Empire and the European countries at war during the First World War. So you know the First World War was being fought from 1914 to 1919 between groups, allies and Central Powers. So here allies, you can see Serbia. Okay, this was ally country. Then Russia was allies. Then France. This is France. Then after that United Kingdom. Then after that Italy. Okay, so and one more was there, United States. So all these were allies. So let's see the central powers now. Austria-Hungary. So this was the central powers. Then after that Germany. Okay. Then after that Bulgaria. So this was also part of central power, and Ottoman Empire. Okay, so these were countries in central powers, and mostly they were the monarchies like Germany, Austria-Hungary, Ottoman Empire. They were under the monarchy at that time. So now let's see the 1905 revolution. So Russia was an autocracy. What is the meaning of autocracy? Means one man rule. In Russia, Tsar was not subject to parliament. Okay, the Tsar Nicholas II. So you can see he is Tsar Nicholas II. He ruled the Russian Empire. He was from Romanov's dynasty. So Tsar was not subject to parliament. It means Tsar was having unlimited powers. Okay, so unlimited absolute powers of the monarch. But liberals, Democrats, revolutionaries, they wanted to end this state of affairs, or they wanted to end this system. So these all liberals, Democrats, revolutionaries, they wanted to end this system, and they wanted a constitution. They demanded constitution. So they worked towards demanding a constitution during the revolution of 1905. So now we will study in detail what happened, how the revolution of 1905 it started, what happened, what were the conditions, and now we will see the autocratic rule along with bad economic condition made the time more worse in Russia. Okay, so we will see here, and 1904 year was particularly very bad one for the Russian workers. So we'll discuss more in detail. So now let's discuss the Bloody Sunday. I told you that year 1904 was particularly very bad one for the Russian workers. Why? Because prices of essential goods, they were rose so quickly, but there was no increase in the wages. Okay, wages were not increasing, and the prices were increasing. Then the membership of the workers association also grew. Okay, so lot workers, they are getting attached to the association, so it means that their power was also increasing. Similarly, association called Assembly of Russian Workers had been formed in 1904, and one day 4 members of this association, which association? Assembly of Russian Workers, which was formed in 1904. So 4 members of this association were dismissed at Putilov Iron Works. Okay, so Putilov Iron Works were dismissed. Okay, so so many associations were growing in number. So it means the powers of the worker unions were also increasing. So on one day, 4 members of this Putilov Iron Work were dismissed. So they were dismissed. As a result, thousands of workers in St. Petersburg went to strike. So out of sympathy, they went on the strike. And their demands were reduction in the working days to 8 hours, increasing in the wages, improvement in the working condition. So this was their demand. Okay, so they went to strike, and what was their demand? Their demand was that working hours should be reduced and there should be increases in the wages. So after this, so continuing, I was telling you that 4 members of the Putilov Iron Works, 4 members of the association were dismissed at Putilov Iron Work, and as a result, so many workers, they went on strike, and they were demanding reduction in the working hours and improvement in the wages. So the procession, now here, a procession of workers led by Father Gapon reached the Winter Palace in order to meet Tsar. Okay, so now they want to talk to Tsar that what is happening. So they went to Tsar. They went with the procession, which was led by Father Gapon, in order to meet Tsar, so as to keep their demands in front of him. So this procession was attacked by police. Okay, so this procession was attacked by police and Cossacks, that is the military unit, the army. So this procession was attacked by police and the army. So 100 workers were killed and 300 wounded. So 100 workers got killed during this attack. Then after that, 100 workers killed, 300 wounded. All this happened on 22nd January 1905, and this day was Sunday. So this day was Sunday. So this event or this episode came to be known as Bloody Sunday. Okay, so keep in mind Bloody Sunday. So this Bloody Sunday started the series of events in country. Okay, so which kind of events? Strike took place as a reaction all over the countries. Okay, people demanded constituent assembly. Universities were closed down. Lawyers, doctors, engineers, other middle class workers started demanding a constitution. Okay, so this happened. Now let's see the impact and aftermath of 1905 revolution. Now what Tsar has to do? So protest started from every section of the society because of this inhuman treatment which army and police did with this innocent workers. So everyone came down on the streets. Strikes were there, universities closed down, lawyers, doctors, engineers, middle class workers, they were demanding the constitution. So people demanded a constituent assembly. Now, under pressure of 1905 revolution, Tsar allowed the creation of an elected consultative parliament called Duma. Okay, so Duma. Now Tsar, under pressure, he has to accept the demands of the people, so he allowed the creation of Duma. So what is Duma here? Duma, I have told you, elected consultative parliament called Duma. Okay, so Duma was allowed. However, within 75 days, Duma was dissolved and second Duma was elected. Okay, so Tsar dismissed the first Duma and within 75 days and announced the election of the second Duma. So this was done by Tsar Nicholas, because now this third Duma. So after a period of time, I told you, second Duma was also dissolved and third Duma was formed. Okay, so I have told you that within 75 days Duma was dissolved. Which Duma? First Duma. And then second Duma was elected, and after some time second Duma was also dissolved by the Tsar, and then he formed third Duma. And these all now the third Duma was packed with the conservative politicians, that is all the supporters of Tsar were there. Okay, while liberals, revolutionaries, they were kept out of the third Duma. So here Tsar systematically brought things under his control after 1905 revolution. Very cleverly, all association trade unions were banned. So now between 1905 and 1914, now the things will move according to Tsar. Okay, so now events will change when First World War will happen in 1914 between Central Powers and Allies. So now let's discuss the First World War and the Russian Empire. So here now we have to discuss. So earlier we have seen the 1905 revolution, how the Tsar brought the things under his control till 1914, and now the First World War we have to see, and what happened in Russian Empire during the First World War. So in 1914 the First World War broke out between Central Powers and the Allied powers, and Russia was part of Allies power. So we have to see here relationship between First World War and the Russian Empire. So students, initially war was supported by the masses, that is Tsar was supported by the Russian people. Initially when the war started, anti-German sentiments were very high, so that's why Russian people gave support to the Tsar. So in Russia the war was initially popular when it started, but later on the support grew thin. Okay, later on when more and more years got passed, okay, so at that time the support grew thin for the Tsar. And what was happening over the period of time, support of the Tsar went down. As Tsar was moving ahead, people took back their support from Tsar. Now why this happened? Because Tsar refused to consult the main leaders in the Duma during the war. So conservative politicians in Duma, they also started opposing the Tsar. Okay, and after that anti-German sentiments were very high. Russian armies were losing badly in Germany and Austria. Okay, so here the Russian armies lost badly in Germany and Austria, leading to large casualties. So many Russian soldiers were being killed during this wars. Russian armies were losing. So the Russian people, they were not happy. There were 7 million casualties, 3 million refugees in Russia. So very difficult time was there. So Russian people started withdrawing their support from the Tsar. Then after that defeat were shocking, demoralizing for the Russian. So allies were winning on the western front, but they were losing on the eastern front. That is the Russian side, the allies were losing. So that's why the Russian people were not happy with the Tsar. So that's why First World War had a deep impact on Russia. Okay, so we have to see now what was the impact on Russia. So I have told you the armies lost badly in Germany and Austria. Large number of casualties were there. Then after that, war affected the industry also. Okay, destruction of crops, buildings led to over 3 million refugees in Russia. Soldiers did not wish to fight such kind of war. The war also had a severe impact on the industry. Russia was cut off from essential supplies from France, England, because Germany has done the economic blockade of Russia. Able-bodied men were called for war. As a result, there was labor shortages. Large supply of grains were sent to feed the army. And for the people in the cities, bread, flour, even the basic things, there was a shortage of. It became scarce. So by the winter of 1916, riots for bread at the bread shops were common. So labor shortages we have seen, railways line were shut down, small workshops were closed, war was going on, there was no demand and labor shortages were there. So there was shortage of grains also, I have told you, and bread also. Okay, so riots were there, people were snatching these basic things from each other at shops. So students, all these things made conditions worst in Russia. So obviously now people will revolt, and this we will see in February Revolution in Petrograd.